Hey friends! So today's video is actually going to be a tag. I got tagged by the lovely Tara Brooke. She's a subscriber of mine. We've gone back and forth on Twitter a few times. She makes YouTube videos and she made this tag all about beauty brands and one's own relationship to beauty brands and how it's changed over the years and so on and so forth. So she tagged me in this and I was like, this sounds like a fun tag to do, so let's do it, shall we? I have fresh new hair in case you didn't notice. Fresh new hair, wearing some JD Glow shadows on my eyes today. Let's find my screenshots. So Tara came up with 15 questions, so let's just get started, shall we? Think back to when you first started your makeup collection. Are there any brands you used then that you still use today? Honestly, Bare Minerals. Bare Minerals was one of the first brands I ever jumped into because mineral stuff and I had sensitive skin and I was like, oh, this should work. And it did, and it still does. So Bare Minerals is definitely a brand that I have been ride or die for complexion-wise. NYX I started fucking with pretty early on. And then as far as bigger brands, Urban Decay was a brand that was one of the first ones I bought high-end stuff. Like the Naked palette was the first big high-end brand product I bought. And I still own their eyeliners. I still like their eyeliners. I still like their primer potion. So Urban Decay is one of those ones that I've kind of stuck with through the mud, you know, even though they've made some weird choices throughout the years and I've criticized them about the weird choices. But largely, I feel like their products have stayed pretty good. The branding and marketing choices have been weird the last few years, but the products that I still like and I still think are good. So definitely Urban Decay is one of those nostalgic brands where I'm I still have a place in my heart for you and I don't want to write you off completely. So yeah, Urban Decay and Bare Minerals, I would say, and NYX. Probably the main ones that I used at the beginning and I still use today. Question number 2, which brands have you moved on from? Oh, so many brands I've moved on from. This is such a longer list. Probably the brands that I fucked with the hardest at the beginning of my makeup journey, MAC and NARS. I don't use anymore since I have kind of moved to being cruelty free. So a lot of the brands that I don't use now, I don't use because they're not cruelty free. I never really used a lot of L'Oreal products when I first got into makeup. I used a lot of Revlon, which I don't anymore. Cause what are they doing?
Nothing.
Physicians Formula, I had some products from. What are they doing anymore? I don't know. But most of the brands that I don't use anymore, I don't use because they're not cruelty free. So NARS, MAC, those are the main ones, I think. Obviously Kat Von D I used for a bit and now I don't. I'm trying to think of other ones that I really got into that I really don't anymore, but those are the main ones. It's kind of it. Those are the big ones. And those were ones that I actually, I still have the products and I still use them. I just don't buy them anymore. I just have ones that are quite expired. So, yeah. Number 3, are there any brands you thought were so expensive that you never buy any from them, but now consider at least one of their products to be a holy grail? If so, which product and which brand? Looking at my vanity, probably the product itself that's the most expensive, the Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray, because thinking about it, a setting spray is not that exciting. It's not something that maybe 5 or 6 years ago I would have been
oh yeah, I want to buy a $30 setting spray.
I never would have bought that years ago. But now, after just curating my collection down to where I have it now, and I don't know, growing up and trying a bunch of things and liking the stuff that I like, I have not seen your blue speaker. I'm sorry. Looking at the products that I have now, I would definitely say the Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray. Pretty much anything from Cover FX, I would say, probably are products that were more expensive than I wanted to spend back in the day. And now I'm just I'm in it now. I'm in it. You got me. Yeah. And probably honestly the most expensive products I have other than that, I have a Melt shadow palette, the Gemini palette is probably the most expensive product that I have. Realistically, yeah, the Gemini palette is the most expensive thing. What is a popular brand that you've never tried and don't think you ever will, and why? A popular brand that I have never tried. I've had stuff from Benefit before. Clinique. I've owned Too Faced. Kat Von D, Estee Lauder. Probably, as far as a popular brand, one that's in a like inside Sephora. I've never owned anything from Lancome, and if I did, it was like a free sample of a mascara that came in a thing, but I've never purchased anything from Lancome. I've never really felt the need to purchase anything from Lancome because it was so expensive, like so very expensive. And I don't know, I got turned off from Lancome early on for some reason. I don't quite remember why. I think it was just like too bougie for me. I had a very similar feeling about like Lancome and YSL, but I owned, did I ever buy a YSL lipstick? I feel like I bought a YSL lipstick at one point. Maybe not. I don't remember. I know a friend of mine had like 2 YSL lipsticks and I was like, oh, these are so fucking fancy. But yeah, Lancome, I've never bought anything from. And I don't really feel the need to because it's really not that exciting. Not anything that I need in my collection. I know they have a pretty wide range of complexion products, which I give them props for because most high-end brands don't. So that's something that I give them credit for, but I don't need anything from Lancome. Lancome and Dior, both I don't own anything from. I've never tried anything from. I've never wanted really to try anything from. Or like Marc Jacobs, don't own anything for Marc Jacobs Beauty. I might have gotten a thing in like a Sephora gift thing, which was like years ago, but never consciously bought anything from any of those 3 brands. And don't really feel like I need to. What brand perfectly encapsulates your current makeup aesthetic?
Explain.
Well, I would say Melt Cosmetics still does get me on a deep level. Like Melt is still so wonderful. Lunatic Cosmetic Labs will always have a place in my heart. I love their witchy kind of spooky aesthetic. I love the branding. I love the packaging. Again, I'm just looking on my shelf of like what other things encapsulate my aesthetic. I would say like if Melt and Lunatic Cosmetic Labs had like a baby. If somebody could tell me if there's a brand that exists like that, that like perfectly kind of combines the two, ooh, I would love it. I would stand it so hard as long as they didn't make questionable choices. Definitely Melt, because I don't know how I feel about this new Melt collection, the Millennial Pink one. I'm just like, are we really going back to like the flaccid flesh tone stuff?
No! Stop!
But other than that, Melt, oof, the holiday collection I still want, but I know I wouldn't use it. It's just so beautiful. Question number 6. Are there any brands you haven't wanted to try purely because you don't like their packaging? I feel like a lot of brands that I've talked about in my anti-hauls, I really hate packaging. I hate bad packaging. I hate useless packaging. Like extra over-the-top packaging. I feel like Glamlight is one that I've really not been inspired by or into. I don't know, like the big over-the-top foodie type, like the burger palette and the pizza palette, it's too big for my taste. Like I have one of the BH Cosmetics Zodiac palettes and I love it, but I never use it because it's so fucking big. But yeah, it's just like the Glamlight stuff, to me, it's just kind of tacky. I don't know, like it's my own opinion. It's just for myself. I don't really like it. And I've heard like decent things about the shadows themselves. Like I've heard that the shadows are pretty good, but like I just don't really like the packaging at all, and I just haven't really bought it because it looks too big and bulky and not like something that I would want to pull out every day. I mean, lately Benefit and Too Faced I like don't fuck with, but like I've purchased from Benefit in the past a long time ago, and then Too Faced I haven't bought anything from for years, and like a bronzer and a lipstick. Question number 7. Is there a brand you've only tried because their packaging lured you in? If so, were you happy with the actual product? I feel like not all products from Milk makeup. I feel like some stuff from Milk that I've gotten, I bought because it looked like enticing and like the whole aesthetic of it looked really cool. And then when I got it home and I used it, I'm just like, this isn't as good as I wanted it to be. It looked pretty on the shelf and I really liked it. And then I got it home and I'm like, am I gonna use this? I don't know. I realistically don't use a lot of my Milk products. I bought like the Kush lip gloss thing that comes in the little squeezy tube. I really don't like it. Honestly, a lot of my Milk stuff just kind of sits on my vanity and I don't use it very often because I don't end up using cream products. I just really don't end up using a lot of cream products, but they're pretty and they work fine. They just aren't as easy to use for me on a regular basis. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion because I feel like everybody loves Milk, but I love Glossier though. Glossier stuff, everything I've tried from them, I liked a lot. So, question number 8. Some would say drugstore and mid-range prices are starting to overlap. What drugstore beauty brands are guilty of making this happen, and what are your thoughts on rising drugstore makeup prices? Honestly, I feel like the only brands that really haven't like raised their prices a lot have been like Wet n Wild has stayed pretty cheap. Elf has stayed pretty cheap. CoverGirl has actually stayed very cheap as well. Maybelline, I think, has gone up a bit. L'Oreal has really, like, upped their prices. L'Oreal, Almay, Physicians Formula. I think brands like Physicians Formula and Almay that have that whole, like, dermatologist-tested stuff, they're able to get away with, to an extent, having the prices be higher because it has that, like, air of, like, ooh, it's healthy for you. And so I think because of brands like that, more brands in the drugstore are raising their prices. NYX has raised their prices a ton. That one I've really like seen probably a lot with their eyeshadow palettes and their foundations. Their eyeliner, their eye products, like liners and lipstick, tends to stay relatively inexpensive, but their eyeshadow palettes and their foundation stuff, it's risen a lot. And I feel like also with brands like Makeup Revolution and Morphe and stuff like that, where it's kind of like blurring the lines of drugstore versus mid-range, that the drugstore brands are like competing with those brands just to like look like they're on the same level. A lot of indie brands, I would say, are in like the mid-range price range as well. And those I like fully understand kind of why their prices are the way they are most of the time. But I think that the brands that have kind of stuck to their guns as far as like stayed relatively inexpensive, Elf, Milani, Wet n Wild, and CoverGirl, I think maintained their like inexpensive level. And Maybelline, I don't check in a lot with brands in the drugstore. I look at Elf once in a while. In Ulta, I definitely check with Elf, and NYX if I'm just kind of perusing, and I still use their eyeliner. I still love their eyeliner, but I don't really buy anything from CoverGirl or Maybelline or L'Oreal or Almay or Physicians Formula. Revlon, they're not doing anything anymore. Like, what is Revlon doing? I don't know. Please somebody tell me, is Revlon doing anything? I don't know. I think drugstore prices are getting honestly too high because they're seeing how popular higher end makeup is, and so they're like, oh well, people are willing to spend more on makeup now. We're just gonna raise the prices a little bit. It's like, I don't think the quality is getting any better. I just think they're raising the prices because they see how lucrative makeup is now and how much more popular makeup is, and it's kind of annoying, honestly. Question number 9, and this is a question definitely made for me. With anti-consumerism and eat the rich mentality starting to take hold in the YouTube beauty space, are there any brands you still feel a loyalty towards? If so, why? As much as I've like made fun of how boring Bare Minerals is, I do believe in their complexion products, and I've always believed in their complexion products. I feel like there's never been a I've used the powder. I've used like the Bare Skin Serum Foundation. It was good. It wasn't the type of finish that I like, but it was a good foundation. And then the liquid foundation I've been using for the last 3 years, and I absolutely love it. So I definitely feel a sort of loyalty to Bare Minerals to an extent, for sure. I just realized my mic turned off, so if the audio is kind of shitty for the second part of this video, I apologize. Question number 10, have you ever felt betrayed by a brand? If so, what happened? I felt personally betrayed by Kat Von D, and y'all know why, for a multitude of reasons. I loved the branding of Kat Von D. I loved the products. I feel like Kat was truly doing something cool with the beauty space and like doing stuff that was interesting. And then she outed herself as being like a really shitty person for various reasons. And the product started getting really boring. I was just like, damn it, Kat. Like, that was one that it didn't like hurt me, but like it was a brand that I aligned with aesthetically and that I wanted to support. And then it made me so angry finding out what I did. Then I was like, I didn't want to use anything. I don't use any of her products on camera anymore. And it was like, I don't like even like picking it up and like using it all the time. Like, I'll still use some stuff that I have on my own time when I'm not on camera, but that was one that probably affected me the most. So yeah, mostly Kat Von D. Question number 11. Are there any brands that you feel give off exclusivity vibes, making you feel like you aren't cool or pretty enough to buy from? If so, which brand and why? I feel like most brands that are really so goddamn expensive, brands like Tom Ford, Marc Jacobs, I feel like all of those hyper expensive brands definitely have this air of exclusivity. And it's kind of gross. Like, it's just kind of gross. A lot of those brands also have terrible shade ranges and terrible inclusion of products that it's like clear that they're making a statement that it's like, well, we're this expensive, but we only want light-skinned people to use it. Like, that really irks me and really pisses me off because it's just like, no. Like, if you looked at the statistics of like who buys makeup, like, it's not all white people buying makeup, okay? Question number 12. What's worse, choice fatigue, exhaustion from too many makeup releases, or a lackluster quarterly launch from a brand you're typically excited about? Honestly, I feel like choice fatigue is worse because it does feed on kind of the like buy, more stuff. Honestly, like the feeling of like choice fatigue versus being underwhelmed. You're either overwhelmed or you're underwhelmed. And when, say, a brand brings out a quarterly product that's kind of boring, at least in my head, there's not that like they pumped out so many products. I would rather ColourPop come out with stuff less often and then maybe once in a while is just kind of like bleh. But if they're coming out with so much stuff, just in my head, I think of all of everything else that goes along with producing all that product, that like it's not going to get used all the way up. It's not going to sell all the, like, it's just people are going to buy more stuff. And then there's just more things going into a landfill. And then it just like domino effects and snowballs into like decluttering things that you got 6 months ago. And it's just like, what? So I'd much rather have like an underwhelming semi-regular release schedule versus an overwhelming every week schedule, you know? Question number 13, have brand trips or sponsored videos ever made you actually interested in a product or beauty launch the brand was promoting? Brand trips, absolutely not. I don't give a fuck about brand trips. I feel like those are way overdone. I feel like there's really no reason for brands to bring people to exotic locations to launch a mascara. I think that's a waste of resources. I think it's really stupid. A sponsored video, if a person that I'm watching, if a person that I subscribe to does a sponsored video, usually the people who I watch, I trust their judgment even if they take a kind of sponsored video. Like, they'll take things that they believe in, not just like everything that comes their way. So definitely, like, I don't necessarily look at sponsored videos any differently than like a regular review usually, because I've seen people who I follow do sponsored content and still talk about the negatives of the product. So I think the brand trips have no effect on me whatsoever. I think brand trips are useless. And yeah, with like sponsored videos, usually I can take things with a grain of salt pretty easily. It doesn't really bother me if people take sponsored videos. Usually the people I subscribe to tend to be pretty honest even in their sponsored videos, so I trust them pretty well. And when I say like sponsored brand trips, like those are stupid and useless, I don't fault the creators themselves for going on the sponsored trips, because it's like, yeah, take a free vacation if they're gonna give it to you. I think it's stupid for the brands to do it. The brands are the ones shooting themselves in the foot, not the influencers taking the trips. Question number 14, are there any indie brands you hope to see sold at Ulta or Sephora in the future? Oh, so many. I would love to see more sold at Ulta, because I feel like I've heard that when smaller brands get into Sephora, it's hard for them to like keep up with stuff. So I would definitely like to see some more indie brands at Ulta actually in the stores, because I know that they actually sell a lot online. When they brought Juvia's Place into Ulta, I was super excited about it because I could see the products and I could get my hands on them. That's, I feel like, one of the biggest problems with indie brands is that you can't see them in stores or swatch them. So you're kind of just like relying on shipping and relying on reviews. I mean, I would love to see some local ones. Some like Menagerie would be really cool, just to be able to have more resources. Shroud Cosmetics, I know they were inside Riley Rose, and now Riley Rose has kind of just shut their doors because Forever 21 went bankrupt. So I'd love to see brands like Shroud. Midas would be really cool. I mean, right now it's pretty much just Rocio who's like doing everything. Honestly, I would love for Sugar Pill to be inside fucking Ulta, but they aren't. Like Sugar Pill, I want Sugar Pill and Ulta so bad. They were, again, another one that was in Riley Rose, and I could see it and I could get my hands on it. And like they have Beauty Bakery at Ulta now, which is really cool. I just want more of like the fun color cosmetics ones to be inside Ulta, ones that might be more difficult to ship because of like just soft products or whatever. I feel like so many indie brands I just want to be inside Ulta, because Ulta is such a good resource for all kinds of stuff, because it's like you go in there and you can get everything. Like you can get your really inexpensive e.l.f. products up to fucking like Chanel perfumes. Like you have the full range of things, the full spectrum of prices of products, and I feel like indie brands definitely fit better inside Ulta than they do inside Sephora, because you do have that price range, you know? And then I think we're at the last question. If you could give any beauty brand a rebranding, which brand would it be and what elements of the brand would you modify?
Oh boy.
That's a loaded question. Talking about rebrands. I want Urban Decay to go back to what they started with. I want them to be innovative again. I want them to be fun and cool and different. They've just watered themselves down so much over the last several years. There's so many brands that do so many things when like one thing is really good. Like their eyeshadows are good, but then their complexion products are crap. It's like just leave out the complexion stuff. It's not good. Don't do it. Do the stuff that you're really good at. Urban Decay does kind of need to completely rebrand, get rid of some of the complexion products, get rid of some of the eyeshadow stuff, like go hard on like the liners, on the stuff that they're really good at. Like I feel like that's so many brands' problems, is that they just put out stuff of every kind because they can, when they're not good at all of it. This whole fucking Kat Von D, Kendo Vegan Beauty, Discovery stuff, kindness, vegan, Discovery, beauty, is dumb. I would have loved to have my hands on that, to just like completely redo it, get rid of everything Kat Von D, and just keep the formulas that are good, and then just roll with it. That would have been cool. I would like to reformulate the stack shadows from Melt Cosmetics so that they don't break so fucking easy. Oh, there's so many things that I could do to fix things that I would want to do to fix stuff. Huda Beauty, I just want to remove all the fragrance from the products themselves. I just feel like I just need to just delete that whole brand. I swear to God. All the complexion products need to go away. That's the thing. Huda Beauty, I feel like, does eyeshadow palettes quite well, but their complexion stuff is so fucking Instagram makeup that I don't want any of it. And I feel like because it's so fragranced and because it's so full coverage, and she just doesn't give good advice for regular makeup, and I would rather her just like go hard on like the eyeshadow products and like cheek stuff, just like not complexion things. Like stop it. Stop it. I don't want any of it. I feel like so many people don't want any of it, and it's clearly not good for your skin. That's, I think, the last of them. I think that's all of it. Is that all of it? Oh yeah, no, that that is it. Those are all the questions. Y'all should do this tag. I was actually tagged in this, so thank you, Tara, for tagging me. You guys should go check out Tara's channel. I believe she tagged a few more of my friends in the video, so if they do it too, I will leave links to their videos in the description below. For today's song of the day, let's see, what have I been jamming to? I've been jamming a lot to the Letterkenny soundtrack, so let me see if I can find a song from it. Today's song of the day is Right On Frankenstein from Death from Above 1979, and this was on the Letterkenny full Spotify soundtrack thing. I'll leave a link to that in the description because the soundtrack from Letterkenny is perfect and I love it and it's so good. But yeah, Death from Above, a band that, oh, truly was ahead of its time. But yeah, Right On Frankenstein. It's a pretty awesome song. You should check it out. Go check out Tara's channel. Go check out this tag. Do it if you want to. I thought it was fun. It was like kind of just all-encompassing thoughts about brands and brand choices and stuff. And you know, I love to shit on brands. So corporate tears, am I right? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. That would be fantastic. That would be awesome. Thanks so much to my patrons. Y'all are amazing. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Links to all my social media and my merch will be in the description below, and I will see you all in my next video. Depending on when I post this, it's either gonna be on Saturday or Tuesday, one of those days. I don't know. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.